Do you have the gift of gab and like talking about interesting topics? Are you often called opinionated by your friends and family? Then come to Anchor where you can be all of the above and get paid for it. Along with being one of the easiest systems to create contact with, Anchor supplies everything you need and can be used from your smartphone or computer. They even distribute your content for you so that you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Okay. Hello, Internet family. This is Anjanette Potter, also known as Adam's Rib, and you are listening to 28 Days of Black Feminism. This is courtesy of the AnjanetteSpeak blog. This is where any of these recordings are going to be posted. Any of these podcasts are going to be posted. This is, as I said earlier, 28 Days of Black Feminism. My annual series that I have every February during Black History Month to celebrate Black women's contribution to not just to Black history, but also to the fight for equal rights for women. So this podcast probably should have been the first one that I did, since we are now going to talk about, like I said, what I'm going to do is do 3 notables and then a topic, and then 3 more notables and then a topic. Because I don't want to just talk about, notable people that have made history. And my history makers are not just prior history makers, as you will be hearing with the last 3 podcasts. I'm also celebrating present day history makers as well. So just grabbing myself a little sip of tea here. So today for this podcast, I'm going to talk about Black History Month. So Black History Month is an annual observation originating in the United States, where it is also known as African American History Month. It has received official recognition from governments in the United States and Canada, and more recently has been observed in Ireland and the United Kingdom. So we're not just celebrating Black history here. It began as a way of remembering people and events in the history of the African diaspora. So for those of you who don't know, the African diaspora is the worldwide collection of communities descended from Native Africans or people from Africa, predominantly in the Americas. The term most commonly refers to the descendants of the West and Central Africans who were enslaved and shipped to the Americas via the Atlantic slave trade between the 16th and 19th century, and their largest populations in the United States, Brazil, and Haiti. However, the term can be used to refer to the descendants of North Africans who immigrated to other parts of the world. Some scholars identify circulatory phases of this migration out of Africa. The term African diaspora gradually entered common usage around the turn of the 21st century. The term diaspora originates from the Greek, literally meaning scattering, which gained popularity in English in reference to the Jewish diaspora before being more broadly applied to other populations. Okay. So African American History or Black History Month is celebrated in February in the United States and Canada, while in Ireland and the United Kingdom it is observed in October. So Black History Month actually started off as Negro History Week in 1926. The precursor to Black History Month was created in the United States when historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History announced the second week of February to be Negro History Week. This week was chosen because it coincided with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and that of Frederick Douglass on February 14th, both of which dates Black communities have celebrated together since the 19th century. Negro History Week was the center of the equation. The thought process behind the week was never recorded, but scholars acknowledge two reasons for its birth: recognition and importance. Woodson felt deeply that at least 1 week should allow for the general movement to become something annually celebrated. Also, after the 10-year effort to successfully complete his Journal of Negro History, he realized the subject deserved to resonate with a greater audience. Earlier in the event's history, African American newspapers lent crucial support. From the event's initial phase, primary emphasis was placed on encouraging the coordinated teaching of the history of Black Americans in the nation's public schools. The first Negro History Week was met with a lukewarm response, gaining the cooperation of the Departments of Education and the states of North Carolina, Delaware, and West Virginia, as well as the city school administrations of Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Despite this far from universal observance, the event was regarded by Woodson as one of the most fortunate steps ever taken by the association, and plans for a repeat of the event on an annual basis continued apace. At the time of Negro History Week's launch, Woodson contended that the teaching of Black history was essential to ensure the physical and intellectual survival of the race within broader society. So this is a quote from Mr. Woodson. If a race has no history, has no worthwhile tradition, it becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated. That's one of the reasons why I'm not really with the talk of don't celebrate it unless they make it year round. Continue to celebrate it even after it becomes part of the American school year round. Let me see here. The American Indian left no continuous record. He did not appreciate the value of tradition, and where is he today? That's kind of cold because they do have traditions, but I think most of theirs are oral traditions. But I kind of get where he's coming from because, the history. Anyway, the Hebrew keenly appreciated the value of tradition as is attested by the Bible itself. In spite of worldwide persecution, therefore, he is still a great factor in our civilization. So the Native American, I don't think has, if they do have books about their traditions, I have not seen them or heard of them. However, many of the things that they have done have been what they call oral tradition, which many indigenous peoples do. So anybody who has that information, if you want to, I will be translating these podcasts into videos to put on YouTube. So if you're listening to this and you and I have gotten it on YouTube already, or if you're listening to this somewhere else, you can leave a message or send me a message. Send me a message with details. If you're Native American and I'm speaking out of turn, do not hesitate to comment. Like I said, very polite, no rudeness, to let us know how accurate that statement is, because I don't want to argue with the historian, but I also know a little bit about different cultures, and some of their stuff that they do is kind of close to some of the stuff that we have done as African Americans, because we were indigenous at one point. So in 1929, the Journal of Negro History was able to... So what is the Journal of Negro History, first of all? The Journal of African American History, formerly the Journal of Negro History, from 1916 to 2001, is a quarterly academic journal covering African American life and history. It was founded in 1916 by Carter G. Woodson. The journal is owned and overseen by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, and was established in 1916 by Woodson and Jesse E. Moreland. The journal publishes scholarly articles on all aspects of the African American experience. The journal annually publishes more than 60 reviews of recently published books in the field of African American life and history. As of 2018, the journal is published by the University of Chicago Press on behalf of the ACALH. Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Okay, so by 1929, the journal was able, so when I say the journal from here, you know who I'm talking about. The Journal of Negro History was able to note with only two exceptions, officials in the state departments of education of every state with considerable Negro population had made the event known to that state's teachers and contributed official literature associated with the event. Churches also played a significant role in the distribution of literature in association with Negro History Week during this initial interval, with the mainstream and black press aiding in the publicity effort. Throughout the 1930s, Negro History Week countered the growing myth of the South's lost cause. The lost cause of the Confederacy, which as epitomized as both the novel and the film, epitomized in both the novel and the film Gone with the Wind. That myth argued that slaves had been well treated, that the Civil War was a war of northern aggression, and that black people had been better off under slavery. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. Woodson wrote in his book, The Miseducation of the American Negro. I think I have a copy of that around here. So by the end of this month, I want to list a few books that I think would be good reading. Even if a kid wanted to take these books and read them to turn in for a book report or do a report on these books, I would highly recommend it, even if you want to do it for extra credit. So you do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and stay in it. Okay, so think about the word grooming. And think about being groomed for 2, 3, 4 centuries. So in the United States, Black History Month, which started in 1970. So Black History Month was first proposed by Black educators and the Black United students at Kent State University in February of 1969. The first celebration of Black History Month took place at Kent State a year later, from January 2nd to February 28th in 1970. 6 years later, Black History Month was being celebrated all across the country in educational institutions, centers of Black culture, and community centers, both great and small. When President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month in 1976 during the celebration of the United States bicentennial, he urged Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. In the Black community, Black History Month was met with enthusiastic response. It prompted the creation of Black History clubs, an increase in interest amongst teachers, and interest from progressive whites. And on February 21st, 2016, 106th year, Washington, D.C. resident and school volunteer Virginia McLaurin visited the White House as part of Black History Month. When asked by President Barack Obama while she was there, McLaurin said, "A Black president, a Black wife, and I am here to celebrate Black history. That's what I'm here for." In the United Kingdom, Black History Month was first celebrated in October 1987, which was also coincidentally the 150th anniversary of Caribbean emancipation and the centenary of the birth of Marcus Garvey, and the 25th anniversary of the Organization of African Unity, an institution dedicated to advancing the progress of African states. Black History Month in the UK was organized through the leadership of Ghanaian analysis Agyaba Ade Sabo, who had researched as a coordinator of special projects for the Greater London Council, and created a collaboration to get it underway. In the UK, Black History Month was first celebrated in London in 1987 as part of African Jubilee Year, when on October 1st, Dr. Malana Karanga from the U.S. was invited to an event at County Hall to mark the contributions of Black people throughout history, and Ade Sabo drew up a plan to recognize the contributions of African, Asian, and Caribbean people to the economic, cultural, and political life in the UK, with other boroughs beginning formally to institute October as Black History Month in the UK. Black History Month UK does not support the use of the term Black to refer to all people of color in the UK. So let's see. So we're talking about political blackness. The notion of political blackness arose in the UK as an umbrella term to refer to all people in the UK who were likely to experience discrimination based on color, anyone who is not white. So if you want to read more about this, I got that out of Wikipedia. The oft-times criticized but misunderstood reference on the internet, and has criticized institutions for supporting Black History Month. Hello, you have reached the message line for Adams Rib Media Ministry. If you would like to give me a shout out, recommend some topics for discussion, or give an opinion about a topic I've already discussed, either on my blogs or here on my podcast, leave a message and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.